Hey y'all, hey, and welcome to Drawing Conclusions with me, Christina B. I'm back with video number 2 for you today, trying to play catch up and get all my videos out for this week. This case is short but tragic. Addiction ruins a picture-perfect marriage, leaving a mother dead and a young child essentially orphaned. Let's discuss. Vanessa Masucci MacCormack, age 30, lived in Revere, Massachusetts. She was a beloved second-grade teacher. Vanessa was married to Andrew MacCormack, and they had a 1-year-old daughter together. She was very close with her family, especially her mother and sister, and they spent tons of time together. Though Vanessa and Andrew appeared to have a happy and healthy relationship, there were problems under the surface. MacCormack had a drug problem and was spending hundreds of dollars a week to support his habit. His drug of choice was cocaine. Soon he was forging checks from Vanessa's account, stealing her money. He also pawned both he and Vanessa's wedding rings. Vanessa filed an insurance claim for these rings, assuming that they had been lost or stolen, and she was actually rewarded money for replacements, which she bought, and then MacCormack pawned those replacements as well. When Vanessa asked about the money that was missing from her account, he claimed the account had just been hacked. By August of 2017, Vanessa was tired of turning a blind eye to her husband's bad habits. She texted MacCormack saying she felt like she was at the end of her rope in this relationship. She also told him of her plans to sell the house and file for divorce. MacCormack replied that she was crazy and that he would not be signing anything. On September 23rd, 2017, MacCormack left the house with his daughter early in the morning. He withdrew $100 from the couple's joint account, which he spent on drugs. He then went on to do a carpentry job that he had planned for the day. Vanessa's parents called him during the day, saying they couldn't get a hold of her, and asked if he had spoken with her. He claimed that he had texted her earlier, but hadn't received a reply. Her parents, understandably, were worried because of how close they were. It was very unlike her to not respond to a text or phone call. MacCormack also told Vanessa's parents that he had their daughter with them, as Vanessa needed time to go to the gym. This further worried her parents, as that was odd behavior from Vanessa. While on the phone with Vanessa's parents, MacCormack decided to go back to the house to see if she was there. When MacCormack and their daughter arrived home, they found Vanessa in the bedroom, strangled to death with slashes on her neck and a trash bag over her head. He screamed into the phone, "Call 911, she's dead." Vanessa's mother begged him to do something. "Do CPR, she screamed back. Vanessa's parents dropped everything and rushed to her home, while MacCormack was calling 911. Vanessa had blunt force trauma to her face and head, and she had also been stabbed. There were signs of strangulation, and she had been choked with such force that the cartilage in her windpipe had snapped. There was a knife missing from the block in the kitchen that was thought to have been used on Vanessa. There was a strong smell of bleach in the home, and it was apparent that the scene had been cleaned. It also appeared that bleach had been poured directly onto Vanessa, and she had a chemical burn on her back. When Vanessa's parents and sisters arrived at the house, MacCormack played the quintessential grieving husband. He comforted the family as best he could, though a few days later, he would be named as the prime suspect. Now, MacCormack had a rash that closely resembled that bleach burn that was found on Vanessa. It was also found that he had none of his wife's DNA on his person or his clothes the day of the incident, though he claimed to the 911 operator that he had checked her for signs of life when he found her. He also didn't do anything to attempt to save her, not even taking the bag off of her head. There was no sign of a break-in into the house, and there was no reason to believe that this had been done by an outsider. All signs pointed straight to MacCormack, plus the issues they were having within their relationship and him constantly stealing from her to fuel his drug addiction. MacCormack was charged with Vanessa's murder and pled not guilty. In November of 2019, MacCormack was found guilty of first-degree murder. In December, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. During sentencing, when it was his time to speak, he maintained his innocence and insisted that his conviction was a mistake. He promised that he wouldn't rest until the injustice was corrected. Vanessa's daughter is now being raised by her sister. This is another tragic case of domestic violence or family annihilation. It's becoming all too prevalent. I'm so glad that Vanessa's family was able to get justice and that MacCormack is in prison for the rest of his life where he belongs. I'm also glad that Vanessa's daughter won't have to remember that traumatic scene of her mother being killed or having to find her mother's body. But it's just so heartbreaking that the daughter also won't be able to remember her mother at all. But I'm sure her family will make sure that, she sees pictures of her and hears stories of her all the time. So it'll be the best situation possible. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Please like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Comment down below. Talk shit if you got to. I love you. Be great. Be you. I'll see you soon.